Hello, everybody. Welcome back. So I just played the Northumberland Congress, um, which was held in the Howden Parks Leisure Centre. Now that's in North Shields, in North Tyneside. Basically, as I mentioned in previous video, it does have a bit of a rough edge to it, that area, because when I approached the venue on the Friday night, there were a few kids hanging around outside. There was like a girl who was carrying like a large stick. She goes, "Do you like my stick?" Right? And I said, "Yeah, sure, it's great." And then she goes, "It's larger than yours, or longer than yours, sorry." I thought, yeah, you cheeky little swine, right? And then there's some other kid. I'm walking past the skateboard part, and they start going, "You pedo, you fiddler." I'm like, well, I could just give you a slap, but okay. So anyway, the tournament started. Very, very tough. All my games were tough, pretty much, apart from last round because that was a quick draw. But yeah, round one was quite a tough game. Managed to win against Greek opponent. Round two, I managed to win, but I was playing against like a super genius. And his name is Lewis Cheng. So he's already won the World Under 8 Championships, Blitz. So he's a very good blitz player. And when he was getting short of time. I was like, he's bound to blunder at some point. But he never blundered. In fact, he started out playing me, which was kind of disturbing. And I was like, oh shit, I'm probably going to lose this now. So I had to take a bit of a risk to kind of win the game, and let his pawn go through the d2, which I didn't really want to do at all. But I didn't see any other way of making progress. So yeah, I was lucky that he was so short of time, because I think he possibly was. I'm not sure if he was winning, but he felt like he was at least equal towards the end. But then he blundered a piece, and I managed to win the game. And then in round three, I played a very typical example where you play very underrated players. I played a 1500 FIDE rating, but his English rating is 2270, so it's a massive difference. And he scored 4 out of 5. I mean, he's obviously a very strong player. I mean, he 20, 25, 90, I think, on chess.com. Blitz rating. So he's played a lot on chess.com. He hasn't played many FIDE rated games, obviously. And now his FIDE rating starting to going to gain a lot. So I won that game, and then in the morning I played against Fair Carre. That was a game I showed yesterday. And then in the afternoon I played against 1800. And normally I always beat these kind of players with white, even underrated players, but I decided to offer a draw, and he accepted. But he was underrated. I mean, he beat some good players, but yeah, you generally wouldn't want to make a draw with an 1800, a quick draw. When you're more than 500 points high rated, right? Maybe 600 points high rated. So yeah, that's a strange decision by me, but I guess I'm just like a little bit, I'd sort of lose my nerve in these situations. I'm like, I'm like going for a walk, and I'm worrying about the game. And I thought I was going to probably play like David Walker or Henderson. But I was a bit surprised when I saw the pairing, because I didn't have my phone on me, so I didn't know the pairing until right at the last moment. Didn't have time to prepare. I did have my phone, but I left it in my bag in the leisure centre by reception. So I drew that game, which meant I won the tournament outright, because he was the only one who could catch me. He was on 3.5, so legitimately he could have played on. But obviously he wanted to have a good tournament. I wanted to win the tournament. So in a way, it was a good decision by both parties. But yeah, so I drew that game. So obviously that meant that all the rating gain that I would have gained, I would have been up to 24, 29. I mean, it's a long slog back to 2500. I mean, I need to play a lot more. There's no question that if I want to get to 2500, which I think is actually conceivable, if I carry on this form, Obviously, a long way to go. I think 2400 is achievable. 2500, sorry, or 2400, lower than 2400 is achievable. I need to play a lot more. I need to play like 2 tournaments a month or something over the next year or something like that, and just play, play, play. It's tough. Anyway, so yeah, so I won the tournament. This is 350 first prize. I didn't hang around, so I missed the closing ceremony. I don't know if they had a prize giving because they do hand out trophies at that tournament. So I probably should have hung around. I should have hung around to wait for the trophies ceremony. But yeah, I want to play more, but I want to play proper tournaments. I mean, like the European Championship is coming up. These are the sort of tournaments you want to play, really. You know, no disrespect to these weekenders, but you want to play in the big tournaments because why else are you being a chess professional, right? What's the point of playing chess if you're just going to play weekenders? It's a waste of potential. Anyway, somebody left a comment that I wanted to address on the previous video that I made, and he mentioned, actually made some valid points, Chess Hoodie, and he said he thinks I'm a better practical player than I am a chess analyst, which is true in a way. Yeah, I think I am a practical player. Yeah, I tend to be quite a lazy person. This is the problem. So I tend to switch off very quickly. And my weakness in chess is often that I tend to be superficial and forget about my opponent's resources sometimes. And I just see a line and then I'll just stop. You know, I tend to be quite hyperactive. So I'll see a line. That's why I'm quite good at blitz. But obviously the weakness in classical is you see a line and then you stop. Like he mentioned a line that I analysed, and there was some line where the knight's on d4 and you go queen check and then queen h1, which I missed. But obviously, if you put a bit of time in, you probably see that variation. But I just cut it off too quickly. So, but I think in a way it's a little bit harsh what you said as well, because, you know, I was doing some proper analysis of that game. Whereas I think a lot of GMs around about my level, a lot of players around about my level don't do that level of analysis, or when they do it with engines, right? Yeah, so I'm trying to analyze games properly, and I think this has really led to an improvement in my form because if you go back a few years, I was like heavily dependent on engines, and I wasn't using a thought process in the sense that I wasn't trying to analyze positions. I'd lost interest in analyzing. It was just like I play my game and then analyze it with an engine. And whenever you're stuck on a position, you check the engine. So you fall out of love with chess in a sense. You know, the whole analytical process. But I'm trying to rediscover that, which is a difficult process. And you know, you do studies, you do all that kind of stuff. You do puzzles, you analyze games, and that's how you start to use your brain to start to like become a problem solver again, rather than the lazy thing you do is you stick on the engine, and that is, so that's what I'm trying to get away from. So I disagree that I can't analyze. It's just like, yeah, probably my strength for my play is my practical play, but in general my results have been very good over the last year and a half. Last couple of years, actually, I've won more tournaments over the last couple of years than I probably ever have. I mean, the reason my rating is lower, you know, my peak was 2573. I'm now down at about 2424. The reason my rating is lower is simply because, well, a couple of reasons. Possibly I don't play enough, as we established. I need to play more. That's why I've been playing better lately, because I have been playing a few more tournaments recently. So I kind of got into form round about the end of Northumberland Masters, and I've carried that on through a couple of tournaments. But yeah, I was going to say, well, I forgot what I was going to say actually. So babbling so much. But yeah, I mean, I've basically been playing okay, but the reason my rating has dropped, I think partly is because the whole rating system is completely messed up. So if you look at, you know, the rating system, as I mentioned, I played a 1591 player FIDE who is 2200, 2300 strength, and that is a common theme. I mean, one thing I think they need to do is basically make all league games FIDE rated. It's quite a simple fix. I don't know how you do that without arbiters on every event, but I think they need to do it. And it's ridiculous to have two different separate rating systems. So you're playing against juniors who are much higher rated with their ECF ratings, but because they play local league matches. So when you play them in proper tournaments, their ratings aren't reflective of how strong they are. So that then drags everybody down. FIDE have trying to fix that recently. We have seen some kind of repercussions out of that. For example, a lot of people gained at the Olympiad. A lot of the higher rated players gained. So potentially we could have a few players back over 2,800 recent in the near future, when it looked like pretty much everybody was going to slip below 2,800. So we're starting to see some repercussions. But yeah, I mean, if you look, there's a few players. I mean, look up a few players like Igor Glek went down. He was 2,700, and now he's maybe much lower rate, like 2,300. A lot of people had a much bigger decline than I had. Izatrescu is 2,300 now, and he was a solid 2,650 player in his prime. Stopped working as hard as he did, and yeah. And obviously, combined with the deflation, then he's dropped down a lot. So you look at it, there's pretty much every player who's active, older player, has lost points. I mean, essentially, I think the only way you can probably gain is if you're younger and you've got the energy to overcome that. It's just hard. So I think I'm doing as well as I possibly can, pretty much. I just need to play a bit more. Yeah, I mean, I think one thing they need to do very seriously. So I think there's a couple of things they need to do. Firstly, as I said, try and make local league games FIDE rated. And the other thing they need to do is kind of more prioritize active players. It's ridiculous that you have players who haven't played for years and they come back and they play like one or two local games or one or two FIDE rated games, and they come back as the same rating. Like in other sports, if you don't play for years, your rating just tumbles completely. But somehow in chess, you just maintain the same rating, which is ridiculous. So I'm like lower rated than players who hardly ever play. Someone like Keith Harkle's playing all the time. He's much lower rated player. He's probably a stronger player than most of these people are higher rated than him, because he just sort of like plays all the time. Therefore, he's always facing these underrated juniors, Like I say, I broke even on rating on that tournament in Northumberland, but that's probably not a bad achievement, because, when you look at the players I played 4 junior players, and one player was probably like 8, in his 20s. So it's just very, very tough. Anyway, so those are my thoughts. Please leave your thoughts down below. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Anyway, yeah, please subscribe to my channel. Up to 530 subscribers, but given I'm a GM, I need to change my sex actually, and wear a low cut sort of boob top, and have a flirty Twitch channel. And I mean, essentially, I'm not, never going to probably hit big numbers unless I take the YouTube really. I mean, one of the things I noticed actually, I get bigger numbers on this just filming like this than I do when I actually do a chess video, when I actually show chess positions, which is totally ludicrous. So yeah, maybe this is the way forward, just essentially just a chess drama channel. Anyway, please leave your comments down below and please subscribe.